Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pillars of Eternity. In our previous
I'll
episode,
take a
we
peek.
explored Old Song, we helped Galawain's hunt, and now we are talking to the gods. So, we've spoken to Galawain. Yeah, Galawain. Who's this guy? Hylea. Okay, just do this.
Mm-hmm.
My characters need to go rest as well. They're tired. Okay, pray to Hylea. You step before the shrine and prepare to recite the ritual. Oh crap! I forgot about this. The queen of the queen that was and still is. Enough focus efficiency. Book of the Hunt. The many faces of Berath. Mrs. and hand a call the Journal of Jonas. Called selected correspondence of Kipper. Oh, this fucking chair. Oh, every night the song's life. Your words seem to ring in the air, your voice rendered melodic and lifting by some unseen art. You shut your eyes to pray. As you wait in the darkness, the world around you changes. You feel sunlight bright and warm on your face. A light breeze carries music to your ears. As vivid as these sensations feel, you somehow know they are not real. You look around and find yourself standing in an open-air temple built on a mountain summit. It's filled with elves, orlins, and assorted other kith. Ringing the entire scene is a fringe of trees, their verdant branches filled with birds of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Durin spit, a paradise for those who would waste their lives exploring the meaningless while corrupting the meaning of the world. Oh, to set these trees ablaze, Watcher. Everyone is singularly absorbed in a particular pursuit, and Orlan sits with a canvas, a paintbrush in his hand and jars of green, blue, and yellow pigments at his feet. An elf and an Almoa, I can't fucking pronounce that, standing to the side are locked in conversion, the expression dancing with delight. Still others scribble stanzas and poetry or crude sketches of on sheaves of paper, losing themselves in the delicate minutiae of lines and syllables. Minutiae? You feel the breeze again, and two elves basking in the sunlight shiver. The largest group gather in the middle of the temple. They sing in lush, chaotic harmony composed of several complementary melodies. Others drift towards the singers in ones and twos, as if buffeted by a gust of wind or a phase of the song. A ripple passes through the trees. You think that it's the wind, but the chirping changes to screeching. Hundreds of birds take to the skies, all headed in one direction, away. Herodias emits a series of chirping calls as the flock scrambles into the air. This is bad. Herodias mutters at the face of it. Something has them spooked, but they won't tell me what. Then again, I think I mispronounced by my bird song and probably called them incontinent. The devotees glance at the trees, just barely distracted from the activities, but the wind picks up, scattering their pages and poetry, and the art ripped the song from the lips. They look skyward, and you follow their gaze. A dark shape blots out the sun. You can't tell what it is, but it is unforced to expand. It seems to fill the sky. The wind roars over the summit. That explains the birds. Before you can flee, a shadow falls over the temple. It begins to stay in the corner and spreads, blotting the flagstones. It reaches the nearest kith, a black furred Orland. The darkness swallowed her, leaving only a puff of smoke in her place. The two elves that you saw earlier, a man and a woman, flee. You get the brief image of them huddled in the shadow of a mountain. They seem to see you too, and they reached out, calling silently after you. The others, however, seem frozen as the shadow advances. They likely vanish one by one. The deriving gale scatters their ashes and the charred remains of their creation. You look up again at your source of shadow, but the eclipsed sun forms a blinding corona around you. The thing you can't make out any details. You can, however, feel heat. Restore my temple. You look down and find yourself standing next to Hylea's shrine in Tirevron. Your pulse still raises and your skin is damp with sweat from your strange encounter. Tell me what to do with my life, woman. There is life in death and death in life. Berath. There is life in death and death in life. There's a ripping shift in the air around you as if someone. Okay. You kneel and pray to Berath. Even while your eyes are closed, you see a road that seems to stretch on forever. The stars wheel overhead in a clockwork rotation and of constellations, disappearing over the horizon to your left, only to the horizon to your right. You try to make out the details on either side of the road, but your eyes can't seem to focus. One moment you think you see a meadow blanketed with mist, and another sheer canyon walls. For just an instant, you even see waves lapping at the edges of the road. Where you step into the shifting landscape, you feel certain you would only end up back on the road. You know this is a vision, but the packed dirt feels firm beneath your feet, and the night air cool on your face. You are walking. Your feet seem to carry you forward for their own accord. Seemingly looms ahead of you. As you get closer, you see two stone figures that look strangely familiar. Benwin, I anew, and anew, I Benwin. What? Two of the oldest representations of Berath. You remember the door to Cleaban Relic and the two figures carved into the mountain next to it. One looks vaguely male and the other vaguely female. Only a thin layer of flesh covers the skeletal bodies, which twist to face a doorway between them. The doorway, however, is not what you saw in the ruins. It's a skull, gaping and jaws, and as you look on, its open mouth seems to grow. The arms to the two stone sculptures are swept toward the mouth, inviting you in. Enter the skull. The road continues through the moor to another shifting landscape, surrounded by the stars. As you pass through it, you see an identical doorway in the distance. A dwarven man stands near it, unmoving. Um, you turn and look behind you, only to see a skull gate you just passed facing you. An elven woman waits in the road like the dwarf. She stands still. You start towards her. There's something unnatural about the way she stands. She too is still. When you get closer, you see that her legs taper into a slender trunk, and in the place of her feet are gnarled, twisted roots. She shifts her face to an invisible sun. Her long golden hair is the color of autumn leaves, and as you look more closely, you realize that her head is actually covered with the tendrils and vines sprouting brilliantly yellow leaves. Each glimmers with the essence of an entire soul. She gives you a beatific smile. As you look on, the leaves slowly fall from her head and settles as the roots. They melt into the path beneath her, and almost immediately new leaves sprout in the place of the old. She reaches towards you, still smiling as the roots spring from her fingertips. Her outstretched arms bar the path. Come, graft your soul to the golden grove. Take her hand. Her roots twine around your fingers, and as they do, they grow rigid and cold. Her outstretched arms petrifies, and as a rough stone bark overtakes her flesh, she can only look you in horror. Can only look you in horror. You break away from her brittle grasp. Her feet are rooted in place, but she twists and writhes as if trying to flee her own dying limb. The petrification reaches her shoulder and spreads down her body, freezing it in the painful arc. It creeps up her neck, and she throws her face skyward like a drowning swimmer. The grayness covers her face, freezing her grasp in the stone. Now that she is still and lifeless, you can continue past her. Only the golden leaves on her hand remain untouched, and as you watch, they fall one by one to the path below. They shrivel, and the shimmering essence fades from them. You lift your gaze and see the dwarven man standing further down the road. Approach the dwarven man. You continue down the road. This is bullshit. You continue down the road toward him. He looks up as you approach, but you can't tell if he's looking at you or through you. His face is smooth but flaccid, as if the flesh of it detached from the muscles underneath. As you look on, his face begins to change. Wrinkles crack at the corner of his eyes. His mouth sinks, carving deep lines from the nose to the corner of his lips. His jowls sag, and the loose flesh hangs like dough. He raised his cupped hands, they covered in blood. He lifts them to his face and smears himself from the newly creased forehead to the wattles of his neck. As he massages the dark, sticky fluid into his skin, the fresh wrinkles disappear, the hanging folds recede, and his flesh tightens as if he re-adhering to his scalp. He lifts his head and stands, and this time you know he's looking at you. His renewed face looks like a mark, artificially smooth and still. Behind it, his black eyes are two hungry pits, yawning like deep empty mouths of a skull. Come, make your sacrifice to the etched knoll. His body blocks the path. He extends a bloody hand. Take the hand. You grab his hand, but the skin gives too easily under your grip. As you try to pull away, you hear a noise like dried canvas tearing. His skin splits, following a long seam that begins at his arm and stretches the length of his body. Blood gushes forth in such quantities that you can't imagine there was anything else in him. Sure enough, as the dwarf empties of blood, he collapses like a desiccated husk. The blood in the path gleams with 1,000 souls worth of essence. The essence evaporates, trailing shining filaments into the night sky. Only now that he is dead can you continue onward. The blood pools around your feet, and voice echoes along the road, barely more than a whisper in the breeze. Return them to the wheel. You look up and see a skull gate ahead. The candles of the tear Evron wink through the open mouth. Servant of Death. And all this reading is bullshit. I don't like this shit. Council of Stars. The fuck is this from God? And all life ends in stillness. You lean and close your eyes. As you pray, the blackness fades to white and the howling wind fills your ears. The vision that slowly resolves itself is of a broad frozen plain. You see a precision of elves in the distance, poetically fading into the emerging from the whiteness. They trudge over snow banks, their heads down against the driving wheels. As they trek past you, one man bundled in his furs turn his head. You headed for Noonfrost and then frost-hewn breach too. Before you can answer his lumbered head, you follow the caravan and into a couple of minutes you come to an ice wall. It disappears into the pale emptiness overhead and stretches as far as you can see in either direction. The elves stop in front of the mirror-smooth section that's framed like a temple door. It seems somehow thinner than the rest of the wall. You can't see what's on the other side, but a debilitating cold emanates from within. The elves pull pickaxes and shovels from the sailkins' backs and begin hacking at the smooth ice, the implements flaying through the air in swift shining arcs. Though they throw their bodies into the labor, not one of them so much as scratches the polished ice. Yet with each blow, something below bellows in the distance. Hylea calls out to the elves, "Hey, you might want to hold off on that," but the hollowing wind seems to swallow up. Pelagina's head whips around and to see the bellowing is coming from. "Forget about the elves. We need to get ready. We need to be ready to move." She turns to face you, flexing hands in the cold air. "Or fight." The elves hack away, seemingly oblivious to the furious lowering and the tremors under your feet. The snow has risen to your knees. Your legs feel frozen in drifts. Try to get to the elf's attention. You grab the nearest elf by the shoulder, shaking her and yelling over the howling winds. You point in the direction of the booming noise, but she only scowls. "Leave us, traveler. We've got to get through. We can't stay on this side any longer." "But you haven't even chipped the ice." "Listen, you're angering something very big. You better stop." The elf strains to listen as she rests her pick in the mounting snow. Some of her fellows pause in the labors. A man with a withered frostbitten finger turns. He raises his maimed hand, and the others stop as well. They stand motionless for several seconds before you realize they're frozen. Frozen entirely. You touch the elf nearest you, and he crumbles into a mound of snow. A final gale blows past, scattering the manes of the elves, negating fury. You notice a single spider web crack in the smooth barrier. It's the only thing that mars the perfect surface of the ice. Whatever's on the other side of the strange doorway, you feel it tugging at you. Only when you look back and see a parallel gash is trailing behind you, your legs in the snow, do you realize how strong it pulls.
My end comes to all things in time. Seal the frost-hewn breach, and instruct the pilgrims in the patience of Remergond.
Remergond, okay. Plug the hole with a handful of snow. You fill your hand with the snow and shove it into the crack. It hardens instantly, and the hoary rime grows over the smooth surface of the frozen doorway, fusing it with the rest of the wall. When you take your hand away, a perfect crystal of ice remains in your palm. As you examine the crystal, the vision around you fades, but the unmelting shard of ice remains in your hand. Okay, that was all, you idiots. Yes. Ugh. Okay. So we need to rest, and I am going to take the ranger because a quest is there. What you want?
Stop right there!
The Phantom Soldier is
city, Inquisitor. Did you think you wouldn't be recognized here in your old home? I've seen your trials with my own eyes.
I see you light fires with the good people. Try to them. People I'd known many a year. He seizes you by the throat, and your airway tightens. He seizes you by the throat, and your airway tightens. Whether real or imagined, you cannot tell. They deserve your confession. He raises the point of his sword, holding it a hair's breadth from your eye.
Suros, what are you doing?
Startled, the soldier releases you immediately and turns to face you. His face is big, a woman in a plain wool tunic, fully a head shorter than he, but somehow seeming to tower over him. You have seen this woman's face before, but from afar, bloodied and burned, as she lay stretched across the iron wheel. At the moment, it is marked only with concern.
An assassin sent by the Inquisition, my lady, daring to approach our camp.
If he is so poor an assassin as to approach an armed guard in daylight, I should have nothing to fear. I would hear what this man has to say. She stares him down until he can no longer face her. He turns away, sour-faced, watching you. Through sidelong glances, his knuckles white around the pommel of his sword.
Surely this is some trick of my mind. I did not expect to see you again.
I said the thing. Basically, that Theo sent me to spy on her. Are things as desperate as that over there? I'd never have known. I hope your next assignment is more stimulating. Listening to my lectures is dull work for a spy. I hoped there might be another reason, but you are here, and that is good enough on its own. Whatever your reason, I've missed you over all these years. Having you here now at a time when I'm surrounded by strangers is a wonderful gift.
I would like for you to stay here in our camp as my guest.
My lady Ivara, I beg of you. This is an inquisitor. This is a desperate attempt on your life. The only way it can succeed is if you allow it to.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. If I can't have faith in one man's ability to reason, once he knows the truth, what hope do we have?
My lady, he admits being a spy.
That should make him less of a threat, wouldn't you agree? I have nothing to hide. All I see here is an opportunity to persuade someone who could help us. We have many former missionaries here. They are our most loyal, our most helpful. Many have died for us. These are not people we should be turning away. And if the Inquisition wants my life, they can have it. But they know as well as I do that my cause will not die with me. Come, we have much to talk about.
Like what? What you want to talk about? Let's talk.
How about we take a break?
What? What is it, Watcher?
This what we learned about Borica trouble you.
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Widewin had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Woodica's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos...
Duran tilts his head, as if listening to an inner voice, then he frowns deepening as he speaks.
Must we always be tools of gods? If Woodica and Margaret, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back...
Then your Godhammer didn't save Deerwood, it doomed it.
So many lies. And Woodica, perhaps she is the next god to fall beneath the Godhammer.
Would it have been better had you been spared this knowledge?
No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Margaret burned her once. One can do so again. Woodica, she must answer to her own justice.
Justice or revenge?
Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Margaret, she must be redeemed. And punishing Woodica, that will serve.
Do we know that Margaret was not a willing accomplice? Margaret was allied with Boudica. She tried to kill all the makers of the God Hammer.
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
I'm not certain, it is just a feeling I have, because she didn't want anyone to know how the God Hammer had been made. No one knows it came to be except a few among Margaret, like yourself. You said you left Ashfall without telling anyone of your departure. The others who made the God Hammer, they all died, didn't they? That's why I saw their symbols fade from your staff.
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure. But even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
Because she didn't want anyone to know about the God Hammer.
You answer a question with a question. Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Because I think she tried to kill you there.
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the God Hammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. Jiren stares at you, his expression frozen, but he's silent, listening. If you had been damaged as I saw in the Gold Hammer's vision, then she may be unable to see you as you once were. When we petitioned her, she didn't recognize you. You know it. Jiren turns from you for a moment, his face twists in thought, conflicted emotions running across his face. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit that the other God Hammer builders are dead. Jiren turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edge of the wood, the symbol inlaid, the elven faded
They
circle.
died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much so that it feels as if the God Hammer itself is alive in his hands. And past it you hear a cry like a child being born, and your eyes to the flash of white, then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it the grinding of an ancient machine of stones, rock and metal, grinding and turning until all around you feels as if the burning sinking into the shadows of the earth beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. Again? Do it again. Power up, my dude. When your vision clears, you see Jiren's, his hands clutching the staff, and his eyes are bright burning red atop the staff. The flame burns cleanly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls. A bellowing, horrid howl like a wounded animal, and sweat pours down his brow. Jiren, we can make this right. We can see that justice is served to her and Boudica both.
To think I served her. I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire in war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Let's continue. The trials of Durance completed. Oh, shit.
Sure.
Hail and well met.
Okay. Let us do
May Wal watch your step.
this. And this.
I'm here.
Hey there.
You've been on your own for 5 years. But you can't talk to him.
My standards changed around year 2.
I don't understand what's happening here. Let's do that. Damn girl. Give me the location. Okay, so I need to cleanse that for Rimgard, or whatever. I need to cleanse this. I already did this. And I'll read what to do for Berath. Let's see what we need to do for Berath. It's a long hunt, look at the forest from the latest. Okay, that's for supply. Learn the Grieving's mother's path, we'll do that. Hunter's favor, hunt down the wolf, that's... Yes. Okay, okay, going to that place now. Prison of Ice, enter the noon frost of Old Song, yes. Travel to Hylea's temple, yes. And the lives of the two figures from Berath's vision. Berath, the god of death and rebirth, showed us a vision of an elven woman and a dwarven man stopped on the road. My touch slew them, and only then I saw I was able to continue along the path. I think this is the god's way of telling me that these two individuals have cheated death for too long. Ending their lives with no doubt pleased Berath. The dwarf in the vision had eerily ageless face, and he seemed to renew himself with the blood of others. He said something about ethic null. When I learn who or what this is, he will no doubt be nearby. The elven woman was strangely tree-like in the vision. She mentioned a place called the Golden Grove. The Golden Grove is in there. And the dwarf is... Oh, okay.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Well done. The one character that should be...
Hey there.
One character that should be in front. Okay, so I know exactly what to do now for those two. It's the Bloodsong Druid Dwarf and the Chickie at the Grove in, I don't know what that district, I can't remember, something Elmwood district or something like that, I'm sure. Anyway, that place.
The
Find the dude.
figurine. It's glowing.
Sure.
Where am I? Oh, okay.
Laying low.
Hiding until on a bush, twigs poke out the head, chunks of dried mud cling waste. Quiet, keep low. Take a look, she pointed at. My friends are up here, over the lip of the hill. What's going on? The fangs must have caught the scent of the rushed group. She begins to run her gloved fingers over the hair of it and tops the pressure. Snaps one of the twigs stuck on her black curl. Some of my friends are still alive, but the fangs have them surrounded. The expedition, or what remains of it, has taken cover in some ruins above the cliffs. The fangs must be toying with them, or letting them starve a bit before the next attack. We need to act. How did the fangs get here? I cut a decoy path, set them false campfires, and dusted over every footprint I could find. It didn't slow them much. I'll see what I can do. Maybe you can find a way around the fangs. There's got to be another way up the ridge. She wipes away the sweat from her brow, her glove leaving behind a dirty smudge. You aren't dressed like my men. Perhaps you could try talk to the fangs. They might not think you're with us. Please help. I already have enough friends to bury.
I'm on the trail.
So. Okay.
Estramore.
Now the woman stands beside a stag, petting the great beast on its neck. As you approach, the animal jerks his head in a direction and rears up. Stillness. The woman orders the stag, pulling on the skin and of the stag's neck until it ceases to buck. Easy now, no need to fight yet. She turns to face you, one ear and missing its top half, and many battle scars raise her otherwise smooth skin. More foreigners, more unclean feet trampling on our lands, more blood to feed the trees. She shakes her head. You should not be here, Estramore. If you are here in our lands, it is either to steal from us or to aid those who would. She gestures to the north at the ruins of the Inquisition building protruding from the underbush. Dear wooden mercenaries, looters, can you hear their panicking whispers? Leave this place at once, or we will kill you when we finish these, Estramore. I'm a friend of your Glunfath. Do you speak the truth, foreigner? If you are indeed a friend, you would respect our lands and not defile our sacred soil with your trespass. The woman clenches her jaw, its muscles quiver under the pressure until suddenly calm returns to her expression. If you have no bond with the kindred looters, I will give you a chance to prove it. She draws one of her swords and with a swift arching motion points to the ruins beyond. The invaders must be purged from our lands. Prove your worth and we will believe you. Tell me about the mercenaries. Raiders, looters, the same as all the other wooden thieves that pillage our lands. The woman touches the oblique stub where half of her ear used to be. We tracked the dear woodens from their first step beyond the great river and waited for them to air. They always do. We claimed half their pack in our first assault. The cowards ran now huddle in the north. When the wind turns, you will smell their fear. Also, if they surrender, will you let them live? Softness. Such as yours will not bring them to heal. Their greed knows no bounds. Their memory honors no history. What use have we of prisoners What example do we set to others by letting them live? She shakes her head. Why would we forgive? See what I can do. I'm gonna load this because I can see that if I get a positive with twin elms, I will be able to do that without having to fight. So I am going to help Hylea. And hopefully that will give me enough positive to do this quest without killing people.
The figurine. It's glowing.
Sure.
Jackson Plus and continue further east. Oh.
I'll teach you a lesson.
Laying low.
Hey there.
Oh my fuck, get out of my way, dog. Arrow crude and flesh with the bright feathers protrude from a corpse. Please don't tell me I have to go up there. Oh no, that's this way. Okay.
I'll teach you a lesson.
And what does the flame reveal?
What an elder antelope? What's it gonna do? Preach to the other antelopes? Okay, wait, no, we'll come back to that. We come upon a clearing and see a group of grandfathers standing in a circle. Sagani glances from the altar statuette to the hunters looking for a connection. Meanwhile, the hunters turn and notice you. Their bows are drawn. What are you doing here?
You mock us? Even the keepers of the stone will honor us after this hunt.
They step aside and turn to you, and as they do, you see something on the ground behind them. Lying amidst the ferns of a white stag, dark blood mars its brilliant coat, and its sides tremble with quick, shallow breaths. You feel a presence in the beast, something ancient and familiar before you can speak. Something thumps on the ground. You look down and see the Ardra Bay, its bright glow
Arc
flickering.
shadow.
Sagani draws up beside her, her white fixed on the dying stag. Allah's face pales. Berath's wheel. Is that One of the hunters takes a step forward and Shagani raises her bow and arrow
Any
notch.
closer and you'll bleed out next to him.
His voice is low and
I never
tremulous.
thought I'd prepared myself to meet a stranger. To share the honor and history of my village with someone who had no knowledge of us. Even someone who'd scorn our way of life.
If you're going to do this, you've got to hurry. Finish this before it's too late.
I was going to tell him about the years of abundance in Masuk. How his granddaughters have hunted caribou, and his grandsons made our walls strong. But he'll be gone in minutes.
It doesn't matter what you say, he's dying and you're doing this for your village. Reminding of the impact on Masuk. She kneels by the fallen stag, placing her hand on his head. She begins squeaking. She tells Berserk about prosperous decades of the grain trade that has sustained them through long winters. She recites the stories told about him and speaks of the new elders who followed in his footsteps. The stag takes a final shuddering breath and falls
If
still.
you've finished your chanting, we need to get to work before the meat spoils.
Have you no respect? A great soul inhabited this body.
And it's gone now. What's left is our kill.
He owes Shagani an apology.
I want nothing from the tongues of these carrion eaters. Coming from people who revere stones and long-dead Audra.
She slanders the builders. You, Estramoran.
Oh, I don't have the druid with me. Why do I never have the fucking druid with me when I want him?
I'm ready.
Show him how it's done!
Easy.
Sure.
To be honest, these guys went wrong. I mean, it's a stag now.
Now it's done. Sure.
Our ground Hardened by the dry blood and stomped leaves, the corpse of a giant Stelgar crawls with flies. His flesh has been pierced and cut as if stabbed by spears and slashed by swords. You touch the dead Stelgar's flank, a cloud of flies stirs into the air, and suddenly you feel the creature's remaining essence. The world around fades away. The pack rests rock shelters at the young full bellies. You turn away and you look beyond the trees. The moon breaks over the swaying canopy. A scent in the air stirs a tingling in your mouth. You slide into your shadow at the taste of a hunt filling your nostrils. Light shines on the stones by the water that fills. Prey down below, two-legged hair-like dry grass. It moves near the water that flows, the legs slow, noisy, unaware. It holds a sharp stick, two-legged hunter, weak hunter, prey, closer prey, bright noon, prey into the dark. Pain on the side, a sharp stick pokes into your flank. You roar and shake it, it snaps, breaking in on the stones. Wet stones. Your blood leaves rustle. You look, another two-legged, another hunter, thick legs, silent steps, stripped face, strong hunter enemy. You leap, aiming at its neck. It moves fast. Your claw find flesh, ripping it deep, ripping it down. Wet leaves, two legs, blood. It howls. It fights back. Long claws cut through the air. They slash at your flesh. More pain, sharp pain. You strike. It strikes. Hot blood on your claws. Hot cuts on your chest. The world goes red. Your strength fails. You can't breathe. A two-legged hunter looks down. Wet ground, our blood, sharp sticks above its head, bright moon above its head, strong hunter, the world goes dark. Okay.
Be cautious. Be constant.
Bullseye. Bullseye.
At the mercy of the tribes. I think this goes back down. Yeah, I don't want to speak to those guys. I want to resolve this quest peacefully. Inside here. Those things, they cause hold person, that's why I kill the person.
And that's how it's done.
I'll take a look.
Did I even allow you to finish your... No, I did not.
That looks like it hurt.
That's it! That's it!
Yeah, my party is way overgeared for this area.
Sure.
Damage while flank targets. Exceptional.
Laying low.
He doesn't have one of those spells anymore. Okay.
How may I help? Thank word then.
How does that fucking thing explode?
Thank word then drop.
Okay. It's a bit anticlimactic, but okay. Probably have your... Oh.
Gotta have something here that works. Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna call it here, guys. In the next episode, we'll probably go up here. We'll go up to the nest, Temple of Hylea, where we'll be confronting a dragon. Hopefully, we'll get enough points towards Twin Elms to finish that quest. If not, I'll just go back to Elm's Reach and deal with the quest that Berath wants us, and the other one. By the end of all that, we should have enough positive with Twin Elms to actually resolve this quest that's here peacefully. So thank you for watching, guys, and have a fantastic day.